The day started with me going way too hard on the squats, trying to impress well. Nobody, just my own vanity. But by midnight, my gut was twisting like I'd swallowed a box of razor blades. I reached down to check the damage, and my hand came back slick with warm, sticky blood. I panicked and smashed the speed dial for my buddy Mikey. "Bro, get over here. I'm dying, bring the car." Mikey, bless his dumb heart, drifted my car to the front of my apartment building, like he was in a fast and furious reject reel. He rushed up, saw the massacre on my bed sheets, and screamed like a little girl. "Holy shit, Jax. Just look at that blood. Did you start a period or something?" I rolled my eyes so hard, I almost saw my brain. "Fuck off, Mike." He grabbed my arm to haul me up, grimacing. "Dude, seriously. Stick a pad on that or something. You are not bleeding all over my custom leather seats. That's Corinthian leather, man. Do you hear yourself right now?" I groaned, clutching my stomach. "I'm a dude, the hell am I gonna get a maxi pad?" Mikey grinned. That shit-eating grin he gets when he thinks he's a genius. "Guess it pays to have a girlfriend. Huh, single dog. I got a stash of Tiffany's emergency supplies in the glove box here." He slapped a thick-winged sanitary pad into my hand. It felt wrong, it felt illegal. But my ass was leaking like a broken faucet, and Mikey looked ready to murder me if I stained his precious seats. So I stuck the damn thing in my boxers. To the hospital, even at this ungodly hour. Their waiting room was packed, with the dregs of the city drunks, fighters, and people coughing up lungs. I checked in and slumped into a plastic chair that smelled like bleach and despair. Mikey looked around nervously. "Yo, Jax, my stomach is bubbling from those wings. I gotta go drop a massive log. You could here call me if you die." Standard Mikey. The guy spends half his life shitting or looking for a place to shit. "Let's go," I wave him off. Mikey hadn't been gone 5 minutes when they called my name. I shuffled into the exam room, waddling slightly to keep the pad in place. I sat down and immediately started explaining. "Look, DOC, it's embarrassing, but I think I blew out a hemorrhoid. It's bleeding like crazy down there." The doctor, a woman named Dr. Brenda Stahl, who had Karen written all over her face. Even look up from her clipboard. "Save it," she snapped. "Threatened miscarriage, we need to scrape you out." Immediately my eyes popped out of my head. "Excuse me," I tried to deny it, but she cut me off with a wave of her hand. She finally looked at me, her eyes dripping with disgust. "I see girls like you every day in this. I know your type. Probably flushed a few mistakes down the toilet in college. Didn't you know self-respect? And now that you're getting older and used up, you're trying to trap some honest guy into being a stepdaddy." I was floored. "Are you high? That is the most unprofessional shit I've ever heard." "I'm filing a complaint," Brenda laughed. A dry hacking sound hit a nerve. Did I classic broken down skank response? "I'm just giving you a reality check, honey. Being a doctor is impossible these days. You tell the truth, and the trash takes itself out to the complaint department." I could hear the people in the hallway murmuring, pointing fingers. The shame was burning my face, which was ridiculous because, hello, is it possible I'm just a guy with long hair, bro? "I'm back, you good?" Mikey burst into the room just as I was about to explode. He threw his arm around my shoulder casually. Dr. Brenda sneered, deepened into a grimace of pure repulsion. "Oh, look at this. You want a couple?" Young girls these days have no shame calling each other bro, while bumping uglies in the dark. Mikey reacted like my shoulder was made of lava. He jumped back, hands up. "Whoa, lady. What the fuck? I'm straight as an arrow. What couple? Watch your mouth." I facepalmed Mikey. "Shut up, she thinks I'm a woman." "Listen up, stud." Dr. Brenda turned her venom on Mikey. "I'd advise you to run. This girl is damaged goods. He sleeps around, gets knocked up, and tries to pin it on nice guys like you. That baby probably isn't even yours. Don't be a sucker." Mikey looked like a deer in headlights. "Baby who's pregnant, Jax, was done. Are you mentally ill?" I snarled at her. "I don't have the plumbing for that." "I am enough with the act." Brenda slammed her clipboard down. "Nobody buys the butch lesbian look anymore. Bottom line, do you want to be hospitalized or not? If you bleed out and die, don't blame me." I was fuming. This woman was a menace. Thank God I'm actually a man. Because if she said this to a vulnerable girl, she could ruin a life. "I'm reporting you. Where's your supervisor?" I demanded, my voice dropping an octave. "Go ahead," Brenda challenged, crossing her arms. "I have a waiting room full of patients who actually need help. Unlike you time-wasting little tramp." The crowd in the hallway, fueled by drama and boredom, started chiming in shameless. An old lady spat, doing dirty things and then harassing the doctor. "Seriously, get on with it. I have a shift at the factory in 3 hours." A guy yelled, "Look at her showing all that skin. Slutty clothes," a bitter-looking soccer mom commented. "My daughter got knocked up without a ring. I beat her ass myself." Mikey got aggressive. "Hey, shut your traps. My bro can wear whatever he wants. The 1800s called they want their zombies back." But the more he yelled, the guiltier we looked. Grabbed Mikey before he punched a geriatric patient. "Go get the director, now still here." Brenda scoffed, "Thick skin on this one." I whipped out my wallet and slammed my ID card. On her desk, "Read it." "Learn to read, sex." Male. Brenda picked it up. squinted at the photo, then flicked it back at me like it was contaminated. Nice try, who is this fat kid in the buzz cut? You think a fake ID is gonna fool me? I'm not a bouncer at a dive bar, sweetie, okay? So I lost 50 pounds of fat, got shredded, and grew my hair out. Is the change really that drastic? That is me, it's called a gym membership. Pay the deposit for the mascara treatment or get out. She said dismissively. I picked up my ID, yes. I need to update my photo, but this is a war now. You declare a miscarriage just by looking at me. Do you have x-ray vision or just shit for brains? I challenge Brenda to smooth her white coat. I have experience. I can smell a desperate pregnant hoe from a mile away. I turn to the crowd in the hall. You hear this, she doesn't run tests. Guesses, what if she guesses your cancer is just a tummy ache? You trust this quack that planted a seed. The crowd shifted uneasily. Yeah, actually, she should run tests. Someone muttered. She's kind of young, maybe she's guessing. Another whispered, seeing the tide turn. Brenda panicked. Look at the chair. She said her stomach hurts and she's bleeding profusely. If I send her for scans and she hemorrhages in the elevator, that's a lawsuit. I'm trying to save a life here. She pointed a bony finger at the chair I've been sitting in. Look at the pants soaked. I looked down. My hemorrhoid had betrayed me. The pad Mikey gave me was saturated and had leaked through my sweatpants. I am a dude. I don't have a uterus. I yelled. I wanted to drop my pants right there. But with my luck, she'd accuse me of flashing. And I'd end up on the sex offender registry. Splat's wet. Heavy sound hit the floor. Oh my God. It's a chunk of the baby, someone shrieked. I looked down. The blood-soaked maxi pad had slipped down my leg and landed sticky side up on the linoleum. Dead silence, then chaos. Brenda smirked, looking triumphant. I've never met a man who wears a sanitary napkin with wings. Looks like heavy. Flo, honey. Say goodbye to that baby you didn't want. Oh Lord. Child lay down. An older woman rushed and grabbing my arm. You're losing the baby. It's a hemorrhoid. I roared, but nobody was listening. Save the mother, someone yelled. Just then Mikey returned, dragging a tired-looking man in a lab. Coat Director Vance. Director, this patient is miscarrying and refusing treatment. Making a scene, Brenda lied, instantly putting on her concerned professional mask. My bro isn't pregnant, he's a dude. Mikey screamed. Director Vance sighed, looking at the blood, the pad, and my long hair. Miss Dr. Stahl is a top physician. If she says it's a threatened miscarriage, we need to act. We can check the gender later. But right now, safety first. He was covering for his staff. Classic no. I stood up, blood still oozing. I demand an ultrasound right now. If I have a uterus, I'll give you $1 million. If not, she gets fired. You want to gamble with your life? Brenda hissed. She leaned in close, whispering in my ear, we know you're just a slut. Who got caught? Just admit it. I ignored her. I want the test. I'm not paying a dime until I see a picture of a fetus. Vance looked at the crowd, filming on their phones. Fine, get the ultrasound, but sign a waiver if you bleed out. We aren't liable, deal, I said. Vance shoved a clipboard at my chest. I snatched the pen, gripping it so hard the plastic cracked, and scribbled a signature that looked like a heart monitor flatlining. Let's go look at my imaginary womb, I growled, tossing the clipboard onto the floor. The waddle to the ultrasound room was the longest walk of my life. I was still bleeding, holding my sweatpants away from my crotch like I was carrying a bomb. The crowd in the hallway parted like the Red Sea. Half of them were murmuring prayers for my unborn child, while the other half had their phones out, flashlights blinding me as they recorded. Mikey was playing bodyguard, swatting at people's phones. No flash photography of the pregnant bro. Back up. Have some respect for the miracle of life, you vultures. Mikey, I swear to God, if you don't shut up, I'm going to strangle you with your own shoelaces, I hissed through clenched teeth. My tailbone felt like it had been hit by a sniper rifle. Dr. Brenda Stahl marched ahead of us, her heels clicking on the linoleum with the rhythm of an executioner's drum. Vance trailed behind, wiping a layer of greasy sweat off his bald head with a handkerchief. He looked like a man who was slowly realizing his career was sitting on a powder keg. We piled into the darkened ultrasound room. The technician, a tired-looking guy named Stan with bags under his eyes, so dark they looked like tattoos, was mid-sip of a Monster Energy drink. Stan, get the machine ready. We have a threatened miscarriage in progress, Brenda commanded, gesturing to me like I was a piece of meat. Stan blinked, looking from me, a 210-pound, heavily muscled guy with a beard shadow and a jawline, to Brenda. Doc, did you read the chart right? Do your job, Stan. Brenda barked. I hopped up onto the examination table. Or rather, I tried to hop. I ended up throwing my upper body onto the paper lining and dragging my lower half up like a wounded seal, groaning as my hemorrhoid flared with the fire of 1,000 suns. Pants down to the waist, Stan sighed, snapping on a pair of blue nitrile gloves. I grabbed the hem of my shirt and pulled it up, exposing an 8-pack of abs that I'd spent the last 2 years eating unseasoned chicken breast and broccoli to build. The V-taper of my obliques pointed down to the waistband of my sweatpants. I grabbed the waistband and tugged it down just enough to expose my lower abdomen, making sure not to flash Stan the actual crime scene going on in my boxers. Brenda stood by the monitor, her arms crossed, a smug, vindictive smile plastered on her face. You see this, Director Vance? The extreme muscle tone, the low body fat. This is typical of the female bodybuilder types. They abuse steroids, their voices drop, they grow facial hair, and then they wonder why their bodies can't hold onto a pregnancy. I stared at the ceiling. If I wasn't bleeding out of my ass right now, I would literally fight you. Save your breath, sweetie, Brenda sneered. Stan grabbed the bottle of ultrasound gel. This is going to be cold, he muttered, squirting a massive glob of blue jelly onto my abs. He pressed the transducer wand against my skin and began sliding it around. The monitor flickered to life, showing a grainy black and white cross-section of my insides. Brenda leaned in, pointing a sharp, manicured fingernail at the screen. There, you see the dark mass? That's the amniotic sac. It's collapsing. And look at that shadow. That's the fetal pole. It's deteriorating. Silence hung in the room for exactly 3 seconds. Stan squinted at the monitor. He clicked a few buttons, adjusted the contrast, and moved the wand lower. Then, he let out a slow, heavy sigh that sounded like a tire deflating. Dr. Stahl, Stan said, his voice completely devoid of emotion. What is it, Stan? Tell this delinquent she's lost the baby so we can prep her for a DNC. Dr. Stahl, Stan repeated, dragging the mouse cursor across the screen. That dark mass isn't an amniotic sac. That's his bladder. Nonsense, Brenda snapped. Move it higher. Find the uterus. Stan pushed the wand up. Doc, I can't find a uterus because there isn't one. What you call the fetal pole is a half-digested chunk of protein bar sitting in his ascending colon. Mikey let out a bark of laughter. Bro, your baby is a protein bar. I knew you shouldn't have switched to the peanut butter chunk flavor. Stan, you're incompetent, Brenda yelled, her face flushing crimson. She shoved him out of the way, grabbing the slippery transducer wand with her bare hands. She started aggressively mashing it into my stomach, pressing so hard I grunted in pain. It's here. I know it's here. These girls come in all the time, lying, hiding things. She dragged the wand lower, right toward my pelvic bone. Doc, I wouldn't do that, Stan started. But Brenda didn't listen. She jammed the wand down past my waistband. The monitor immediately displayed 2 distinct, undeniable, completely male, oval-shaped objects, followed by a very clear, cylindrical structure. Stan cleared his throat. And that, doctor, is a penis. A male penis, attached to testicles. The room went dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Vance's jaw unhinged. The color completely drained from his face, leaving him looking like a bloated ghost. He took a step back, knocking over a tray of tongue depressors. Mikey leaned over, looking at the screen. Damn, Jax. The camera really does add 10 pounds. Good for you, bro. I grabbed a fistful of paper towels, wiped the gel off my stomach, and sat up, glaring daggers at Brenda. She was frozen. The wand slipped out of her hand and clattered to the floor. Her eyes darted wildly from the screen to my face to the puddle of blood soaking into the paper beneath me. The arrogant, Karen-esque mask was gone, replaced by the sheer, unadulterated panic of a woman realizing she had just nuked her own career from orbit. No, she whispered. No, this is a trick. You had bottom surgery. I was born a dude. I have always been a dude. I am currently a dude bleeding out of his ass. I roared, my voice echoing off the sterile walls. I turned to the hospital director, who looked like he was about to have a heart attack. Vance, do you owe me $1 million? What does she get fired? Vance swallowed hard, tugging at his shirt collar. Mr. Jax, sir, I profusely apologize. This is a massive breach of protocol. Dr. Stahl has been under a lot of stress. Stress? Mikey exploded, stepping up to Vance. She called my boy a skank. She told the whole waiting room he was flushing babies down the toilet. She tried to scrape out his ghost wound while he's sitting here with a blown-out O-ring. You're going to get sued so hard this hospital is going to belong to me, and I'm turning it into a custom auto shop. Sir, please keep your voice down, Vance pleaded, his eyes darting toward the door. We can settle this quietly. No need for lawyers. Let's just get your friend treated. Dr. Stahl, leave this room. Now. Brenda looked like a cornered rat. She opened her mouth to argue, but Vance pointed a shaking finger at the door. Out. You were suspended pending a board review. Get out of my sight. She didn't say a word. She just turned and scrambled out of the room, her heels clicking frantically as she fled the scene of her professional murder. Vance pulled out his walkie-talkie. I need Dr. Chun and ultrasound 3 immediately. We have a severe gastrointestinal bleed. Priority 1. He turned back to me, attempting a weak, sickeningly sweet smile. Mr. Jax, we are going to take excellent care of you. VIP treatment. Completely on the house. You're damn right it's on the house. I groaned, finally laying back down as a fresh wave of agony shot up my spine. The next hour was the most physically humiliating experience of my 26 years on Earth. Dr. Chin turned out to be a brilliant, no-nonsense proctologist who didn't care about the drama. He just cared about the plumbing. They rolled me into a private trauma bay, flipped me onto my stomach, and pumped me full of local anesthetics. Good Lord, Dr. Chin muttered from behind me. Son, what kind of squats were you doing? 500 pounds. I mumbled into the pillow, high on painkillers. Ass to grass. Well, your ass definitely hit the grass, Chin replied, snapping his gloves. You blew out an external hemorrhoid the size of a golf ball. It ruptured completely. I have to stitch the vein. You're gonna feel a pinch. I squeezed my eyes shut. Mikey, who had refused to leave the room, was standing by my head, holding my phone. Hey, look on the bright side, bro, Mikey said, scrolling through Twitter. You're famous. What? I croaked. Mikey turned the phone screen toward me. Remember all those people filming you in the waiting room? Yeah. Someone uploaded it to TikTok. It's got 2 million views already. Look at the caption. I squinted. The video showed me waddling through the waiting room, blood dripping down my leg, with Brenda screaming at me about trapping a stepdaddy. The text overlaid on the video read, Wild Karen doctor denies pregnant BRO his ultrasound. Pad drops on floor. I groaned, burying my face in the pillow. I'm going to kill myself. Let me die, Dr. Chun. Hold still. I'm tying a knot, Chin said calmly. Bro, the comments are insane. Mikey laughed, tapping the screen. Listen to this. Why is the pregnant guy kind of hot, though? See? You got fangirls. Oh, wait, here's another one. That doctor needs to lose her license. She didn't even run tests. Dude, the internet is doxing the hell out of Brenda. They found her Facebook page. People are leaving reviews on the hospital's Yelp page saying she performs exorcisms instead of medicine. By the time Dr. Chin finished tying off my shattered dignity, I was officially a viral sensation. They kept me overnight for observation, putting me in a luxury private suite on the top floor. Obviously Vance's desperate attempt to keep me from calling a lawyer. The bed had Egyptian cotton sheets. There was a massive flat-screen TV. They even brought Mikey a cot and a tray of gourmet sandwiches, which he inhaled in about 3 seconds. You know, Mikey mumbled around a mouthful of roast beef. This Corinthian leather on this hospital chair ain't bad. But it ain't my car. I'll you a deep clean, Mike, I said, shifting carefully on my side. My rear end was packed with gauze, and I felt like I was sitting on a tennis ball made of broken glass. I'll pay for the detailing. Nah, man, Mikey grinned. You're not paying for shit. The hospital is. The next morning, at exactly 9 a.m., the door to my suite swung open. Director Vance walked in, accompanied by a sharp-looking woman in a tailored gray suit holding a leather briefcase. Hospital legal counsel. Good morning, Mr. Jacks, Vance said, his voice dripping with forced cheer. How are we feeling today? Like I gave birth to a pineapple, I replied flatly. The lawyer stepped forward. Mr. Jacks, I'm Sarah Collins, head of risk management. We want to extend our deepest apologies for the completely unacceptable behavior of Dr. Stahl last night. We have terminated her employment, effective immediately. I raised an eyebrow. Fired? Just like that? Yes, Vance nodded vigorously. We do not tolerate that kind of malpractice. Now, to make amends for your distress, the hospital is prepared to waive all your medical bills from last night. Furthermore, we'd like to offer you a courtesy settlement of $20,000, provided you sign a non-disclosure agreement and ask your followers to take down the videos. Mikey snorted loudly from the corner of the room. 20 grand? Bro, my customized rims cost more than that. I looked at Vance, then at the lawyer. My brain, finally clear the pain fog, started clicking into gear. I remembered standing in that hallway. I remembered the old woman spitting on me, the soccer mom calling me a slut. I remembered Brenda looking at me with pure disgust, ready to deny me life-saving care just to satisfy her twisted, judgmental ego. What if I really had been a scared, vulnerable girl? What if I was someone who didn't have the lungs to yell back, or a loudmouth friend like Mikey to back me up? Brenda would have let a patient bleed out in a plastic chair out of spite. 20,000, I repeated slowly. And an NDA. It's a very generous offer for a ruptured hemorrhoid, the lawyer said smoothly. I reached over my bedside table, grabbed my phone, and opened TikTok. I refreshed the page. The video was now at 12 million views. It had been stitched by doctors, lawyers, and news outlets. I held the phone up. Have you seen this? Vance swallowed hard. We are aware of the social media situation. Good, I said, leaning back into my pillows. Because 20 grand doesn't even cover my emotional distress of having to wear a winged maxi pad in public. Here are my terms. Vance pulled out a pen, his hand shaking slightly. Go ahead. One, I said. I want $150,000. Cash. Tax-free. Paid out within 7 business days. The lawyer balked. Mr. Jacks, that is extortionate. Two, I cut her off, raising my voice. I want a public statement from his hospital, not a PR tweet. I want you to go on the local news and publicly apologize to me by name. And you will state, clearly, that Dr. Brenda Stahl was fired for gross negligence and discriminatory practices. We can't do that, Vance protested, wiping his forehead. She'll sue us for defamation. She's on video diagnosing a dude with a miscarriage because she hated my outfit. I snapped. Let her sue. If you don't make the statement, I'm going to Good Morning America tomorrow. They already DM me. I'll tell them the hospital board is covering up for a doctor who refuses to treat patients based on personal vendettas. Vance exchanged a terrified look with the lawyer. 3. I continued. My buddy Mikey gets his car professionally detailed by the most expensive shop in the city, and they're buying him brand new, imported Corinthian leather seats. The real stuff. Mikey pumped his fist in the air. Let's go. Justice. The lawyer sighed, pinching the bridge of her nose. $150,000, a public apology, and car seats. And one last thing, I said, locking eyes with Vance. I want Dr. Brenda Stahl's medical license reported to the state medical board for review. I want her investigated. She shouldn't be allowed to put a Band-Aid on a scrape, let alone practice emergency medicine. Vance looked at the floor for a long time. The silence in the room was heavy, broken only by the hum of the air conditioning and the rhythmic crunching of Mikey eating a leftover pickle. Finally, Vance nodded slowly. I will have the paperwork drawn up by noon. 2 weeks later, the gym smelled like sweat, chalk, and rusty iron. I was standing in front of the squat rack, staring at the barbell. I had 135 pounds on it, a baby weight compared to what I used to lift. I gripped the bar, took a deep breath, and squatted down. I moved slowly, cautiously, like a bomb squad technician disarming a tripwire. I hit parallel, squeezed my glutes, and stood back up. No pain, no explosions. The O-ring held. Looking good, bro. Mikey yelled from the bench press. Just don't push it. If you blow your ass out again, you're taking an Uber. I'm not risking the new seats. I laughed, racking the bar. Mikey wasn't kidding. The hospital had paid out exactly as promised. My bank account was looking beautifully fat, and Mikey's car smelled like the inside of a luxury Italian handbag. The fallout from the incident had been biblical. The hospital made their public apology. Brenda tried to go on a podcast to defend herself, claiming she was a victim of woke cancel culture, but the host pulled up the medical records showing she literally mistook a colon for a uterus. She was made into a laughingstock. Last I heard, the medical board suspended her license indefinitely pending a massive investigation because it turned out I wasn't the first patient she had abused. I was just the first one who had the plumbing to prove her wrong on the spot. I grabbed my towel and wiped the sweat off my face. My phone buzzed in my gym bag. It was a text from Stan, the exhausted ultrasound tech. We had grabbed a beer a few days after I was discharged, bonding over our mutual trauma of dealing with Brenda. Stan, hey man, Vance just instituted a mandatory retraining program for all ER staff. Implicit bias and anatomy verification. We literally had to watch a PowerPoint explaining that men don't have ovaries. I hate my life. I chuckled and typed back. Tell Vance he owes me another 10 grand for consulting fees. I threw my gym bag over my shoulder, shaking out my long hair. The soreness in my backside was finally fading, replaced by the deep, satisfying feeling of a battle won. Hey Mikey, I called out across the gym. You want to grab some food? I'm starving. Mikey racked his weights and jogged over, tossing me his keys. Hell yeah, bro burritos? I stopped, thinking about Stan's ultrasound screen and the half-digested protein mass that had started this entire nightmare. Nah, man, I said, shuddering slightly. Anything but that. Let's just get some chicken breast.